everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kathleen, and today's video we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read during the month of February. So February, I actually had a great reading month. I read a total of 5 full books and 1 short story, and I have been so happy to be out of that reading slump that plagued me last year. It's just so nice to be back and enjoying books and diving into some great books. And in the month of February, I had such a great reading month. So let's go ahead and get started with the books that I read. Alright, so the first book that I read was actually the short story, and the short story was called Randomized by Andy Weir. This is part of the Forward collection, and it is Amazon original short story, and this collection has kind of like a technology theme. And so this particular story has to do with a couple who works for a security company, and they provide security systems for casinos. And this couple, they decide to go ahead and hack some of the security systems of a particular casino in order to cheat the system and win some money. They do get caught, and I thought the story was interesting. I just didn't like how it ended. It was just very blah. There was no satisfaction to the ending, in my personal opinion, so I did give this story 3 stars. The next book that I read was the third and final book of a trilogy, and it is Into the Bright Unknown by Ray Carson. This is the third and final book of the Walk on Earth a Stranger series, and this series is all about the Golden Rush eras. Our main character is very special because she actually has a special ability. She calls it her witchy power, in which she can sense gold. So it's a very dangerous ability to have, because if anyone finds out that she has it, they might have ill intention towards her, might want to use her for their own gain, and that is what happens. Her uncle ends up killing her parents and trying to take her in order to use her to basically find gold for him. The first book is actually a lot of traveling. They're making their way from the east all the way to the west, and I actually found the story to be quite interesting. It is not by any means historically accurate, but it was entertaining to read. I was surprised by how much I loved this series because I read one other book by Ray Carson, and that was The Girl of Fire and Thorns, and I definitely did not like that book very much, but I really enjoyed the series. I gave this final book 4 stars, and I would highly recommend anyone to pick up the series. The next 2 books that I read were part of a series. They're books 2 and 3 in a trilogy, and it is the Nixia Trilogy, and the second book is Nixia Unleashed, and the third book is Nixia Uprising. I read both of them in the month of February, so they are sequels to the first book, which is Nixia. So I picked up Nixia just randomly. I felt like reading a sci-fi book, and that book has been sitting on my shelves for the longest time, and I ended up loving Nixia, that I immediately bought the other 2 books and I devoured them. So Nixia, in case you are wondering, the first book is about this giant of a company hires these teenagers in order to travel to this distant planet called Eden, and on Eden there's this substance called Nixia, and it's very valuable, and obviously humans want to harvest it and bring it back to Earth. And the reason why it has to be young people, or teenagers in this case, is because the people of Eden, the natives of Eden, they don't allow adults on the planet. It has to be young people, teenagers, children. They only allow young people onto the planet. So they hire these extremely gifted young people, teenagers, to venture out into this unknown planet. Very little is known about this planet, basically. The first book chronicles just their journey towards Eden across space, and then the second and third books are obviously their time on Eden. I really enjoyed it. It is, some of the stuff in regards to Nixia is so interesting, and that's one of the reasons why I love the series so much. I also loved the characters. There's so much diversity to the cast, and there's some laughs and some serious moments, and I just love the series. If you are a fan of sci-fi books, especially sci-fi books set in outer space, I will so highly recommend the series. It's definitely an underrated series, as I have never heard anyone talk about this series, and I feel like more people should be reading it. And I did give both of these books 5 stars. And the 5th book that I read was Don't Read the Comments by Eric Smith. This was the BookTube Chicks Book Club book pick of the month for the month of February. And this is about a girl who's a gamer, and she plays this really cool game online, and she live streams it, and she has this huge following, and she kind of starts getting picked on by trolls. They want to scare her off the game, and she has to kind of deal with that, being not only a female, but she tries to keep herself herself very anonymous online, even though she kind of streams herself, but she keeps anything about her real identity and her location a secret. And these trolls manage to find out who she is, and they spread it all over the internet, and they start to bully her. And it's a real thing that happens to female gamers in the world. And so this book does have an important message. I do feel like towards the ending something happens that the main character does in order to kind of teach the trolls a lesson, and I feel like it's very, very unrealistic, to be perfectly honest. In a perfect world, yes, this would happen, but we don't live in a perfect world. Me and the other co-hosts of the BookTube Chicks book club kind of agreed. It just doesn't seem realistic the way the book ended, but it was a nice ending. I really did enjoy the book. I actually read it so quickly because I just enjoyed it so much, and this was the first book that I read by Eric Smith. So I did end up giving this book 5 stars just because I absolutely loved this book and I just flew through it. And the final book that I read was the Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. I received this book in my Owl Crate box. I want to say it was for January. It was a recent Owl Crate box, and I absolutely love the story of King Arthur, the legend of King Arthur and Guinevere and Merlin and all of that that comes with it. I love it. I have watched TV shows about it. I have watched movies. I read pretty much a lot of articles based on King Arthur just to find out more about his story and his legend, and I love it. So when this was the book for one of the Owl Crate boxes, I was so excited, and I finally got to read it and I loved it. So basically we live in an era of Camelot where King Arthur has banished magic. Guinevere is sent to marry King Arthur, but she's mostly sent there by Merlin to protect King Arthur because apparently there's a threat to his life. Merlin has seen that there's something that is going to attack King Arthur and potentially kill him, so she's sent to try to protect King Arthur, and she's sent there under the guise that she is marrying the king. I love this book so much. It was just fun to dive into the world of King Arthur. Obviously this is not accurate to the King Arthur legend, and there's lots of things that happened that I was just like, I'm not sure how I feel about this, but I loved it none the same. But I did end up giving this book 4 stars. It was just so fun to read, and to be honest, it's not a huge book at all. It's over 300 pages, but less than 400. But this is a trilogy, and so I'm excited to read the other 2 books. Of course, because this is a recent release, I have to wait till next year for the second book. But I loved it, and I would really highly recommend it. And there you go, guys. That is the books that I read during the month of February. How was your reading month during the month of February? I'm pretty proud of how much I read. I'm proud of the fact that I'm out of my reading slump and back to enjoying books. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a like if you did, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. All of my social medias are linked down below, including Twitter, Instagram, and Goodreads if you'd like to follow me on those platforms. Hope to see you guys on my next video. Have a good day, guys, and keep reading. Bye.